Have you ever looked at your life and thought, there's more to me than this? God has more for me in this life. More peace, more discipline, more freedom. That's exactly where I am right now. And that's exactly why I'm starting this series, Becoming Her. I am on the brink of this transition in my life, and I want to record where I am right now to where I am going to be. And over the next 36 months, I will be transitioning out of the military and into a new career. And I am excited for that career. I am excited for business. I am excited for change. But there is so many habits and so many things that I have to work on and that I want to take my audience on with me, because life just doesn't happen overnight. Change just doesn't happen overnight. And although I have built a solid foundation of good routines, good habits, there are still some things that I need to work on. And I want to take you guys along the journey of transitioning from the military, transitioning from old habits, transitioning into new routines. And this first episode is all about habits. Habits shape who you are. Habits shape your actions, your consistency, and the way you accomplish anything. So if I want to become her and you want to become her, who is the best version of the person that God has called you to be, the thriving, the free version of me, the free version of yourself, there are some habits that we are going to have to let go. So this video will be broken down by the impactful habits that have built my foundation of discipline and accomplishing goals and getting things done over these 17 years that I've been in the military, which is my entire adult life. Some habits that I have adopted over time because of environment, because of people around me, because of self, that I just absolutely need to let go. And I think that will help you evaluate your life and identify things that you need to let go of as well. And some habits that we are going to bring into the foundation that we have already built. All right, let's get started. So when I did a self-evaluation and I looked over my life, there are some things that I have routinely done and that I have always done that are foundational when it comes to discipline and when it comes to getting things done. One of those things is my faith in the things that I do routinely to keep my spiritual up. So my faith practices include reading and studying my Bible on a regular basis. I would love for it to be every day, but we'll talk about that in the future. But reading my Bible and studying my Bible every day. Going to church, being in a godly spiritual community with people who are like-minded and who want the same things. Also, journaling my prayers, journaling my thoughts when things get hard. That is something that I know has kept me going. And that is something that I will keep as a foundational habit. Another thing that I know is foundational for me is my nutritional awareness. Y'all know I am a clean eating girl. Y'all know that I do not put all kinds of foods, sugars, substances, whatever. I don't do it. And I have been like that majority of my adult life. Do I eat some things that are maybe higher cholesterol or something like that, or sugar, a piece of candy? Yes, I'm human. Why would I not indulge in that? But that is not something that I regularly do. I am not known as a person who eats sweets, because I don't. I'm not known as a person who just overindulges in fast food and unhealthy foods on a daily basis. And I know that is something that has helped me with my energy, with the way that I feel, with the way that I look. That is something that I will never let go. Eating clean and eating to fuel my body versus just eating things to satisfy the flesh. Another skill that I have been doing, or habit that I have been doing over the past few years, is I listen to podcasts or documentaries over watching TV or scrolling on social media. Do I scroll on social media? Yes, I do. But there are things that I have that we will also talk about in the future that limits that on my cell phone. But reading, listening to podcasts, and watching educational documentaries or crime documentaries, things that are letting me know what's going on in the world, is something that I believe is pivotal for the way that I learn, for the knowledge that I have, and for the things that I just accept in my life and what's around me. I'm not filled with what's going on somebody else's reality TV show, or who got into a fight on this show, or who is dating who on this show. I don't know and I don't care, because that doesn't affect my reality and that doesn't push me towards the woman that God has called me to be. So I know that that is something that I will never change. People do think it's weird that I don't watch TV like that. But when you have a goal and when you have a purpose and you are not all the way aligned with that, you will do anything and you will cut out anything to get to where you need to be. And that is something that I decided to cut out. So my last foundational habit is my way of bouncing back, my resilience. The Army taught me structure. The Army had me taking L's on a daily basis, and I had to recover very quickly. So I know how to bounce back from things very quickly without it knocking me and derailing me. Although some things may derail me, but for 95% of the time, I am able to bounce back and recover and get over things probably quicker than the average person without affecting who I am or affecting my character. My level of resilience and the way that I process things, that is something that I will keep foundationally, and I will never let that go. Now, these habits and routines have given me a great foundation over these past 17 years and over my adult life, but I have to go deeper. So when you think about your life and you are reevaluating your life, what is it that you know that has helped you be the person that you are today, but you also know that you need to go deeper? Now, although we've had some habits that have built our foundation, there are some things that we have picked up along the way that we just really have to let go. And a simple one that I'm going to say, and you would be surprised, but I hit snooze. I plan enough time for me to hit snooze about 2 to 3 times, but it is a terrible habit to have. Why am I doing that? If I back my alarm up just so that I'm able to hit snooze, you know that it is a horrible habit that I have picked up. I don't need it. So I have been on this journey of not hitting snooze, and even if I am still sleepy when that first alarm goes off, I am sitting up on the side of my bed, or I completely get up out of my bed and go sit in the chair, just so that I'm not hitting snooze and I'm not laying there for an additional 18 minutes for no reason. I don't have to push my alarm clock back just so that I'm able to hit snooze. There is a huge psychology behind that. And maybe I'll do a video on it in the future, but it really is a reward system. It really is, of course, it's you're being interrupted in whatever sleep cycle that you're in, but there's a deep psychology to the reason why you hit snooze, and we got to stop it. So that is one thing that I am working on and moving in the future. I am not taking that with me. Now, this one is really deep, right? And it is drinking alcohol and caffeine. I drink caffeine every single day, whether it's to work out or whether it's just a Celsius or an Alani, just to drink in the morning or throughout the day. Coffee, I used to drink coffee every day, but I stopped that and I have coffee maybe once a week. However, it's still a habit and it's still something that needs to stop. Caffeine affects your brain, caffeine affects your heart rhythm. You become addicted to caffeine the same way you become addicted to a drug or alcohol. Speaking of alcohol, alcohol is one of those socially acceptable things that we fall victim to. And before you know it, you are drinking a glass of wine every single night when you come home from work. And that one turns into 2. And before you know it, you've had 3 and now you're in the bed and you don't feel well. Or whether it's a strong alcohol, a tequila, or whatever alcohol that you choose to drink. But it's so socially acceptable that it can become addicting and you don't even realize that you've become addicted. I enjoy drinking. I enjoy drinking with my friends. I enjoy having a glass of wine to unwind. But when we are picking up a drink or having a drink, pay attention to why you're drinking. Because sometimes it could be you are experiencing a certain emotion. I need a drink. You're angry, I need a drink. I'm bored, let me just have a drink. Or every single time you go out with your friends, you have to drink so that you can feel more social or you can feel happier. When you are drinking in those times and that becomes your identity, you have to check yourself. So going long periods without alcohol is important to me. Choosing not to drink when I feel emotional about something is important to me. And I know that the woman that God has called me to be, the leader that I am, alcohol can't be a part of my everyday life. It's not a part of my everyday life, but it can't be a part of my life in a way that it alters my thinking. My mind has to be clear. God says be of a sober mind, and that's what I want to be. So that is something that I am not taking with me in this future life of mine, becoming her. Drinking for emotion and drinking caffeine and doing all of these things is not something that can be a part of my life. Oh my God. Overcommitting and saying yes, even when you don't want to say yes, you still say yes, and you're doing things and it's causing you to burn out and you're so overstimulated and overwhelmed because you are saying yes to everything and not choosing yourself or not choosing your goals and making sure that the things that you are supposed to be doing in this life are getting done, and you're not so overwhelmed that you can't get these things done. And lastly is being inconsistent. We have to show up when we don't feel like it. Our goals aren't waiting on us to feel like it. We have to establish the routines, establish the habits, and do it no matter what. Show up for you and the woman that God has called you to be, no matter what. All right, and the new habits that I'm going to bring into this becoming her are very intentional. And when you look over your life and look over things that you want to keep, that are foundational, and things that you want to get rid of. Now, what is it that we have to do to become the woman that we are called to be? How do we become her? What do I need to do every single day to become her? And those are the habits that you need to adopt in your life. So for me, it is consistently showing up no matter what. So today, I just got back from the gym. I still have gym hair. I got my headband on. I still have gym clothes on. And I say, you know what? I'm going to turn the camera on. I'm going to put the lights on. I got my mic. I have everything that I need to do what I said I was going to do. And if that was to build a personal brand and be a content creator as I transition out of the military, show up no matter what. Consistency over feelings, consistency over motivation. It is consistency and discipline that is going to get me to become the woman that I desire to be. And in that consistency, that is using my Notion on a regular basis, that is having a content schedule, filming, scripting, recording, doing the things that align with the woman that I am becoming. I read the book Deep Work. I have talked about it before in other videos, but deep work is something that I want to consistently do. It is deep focused work for a certain period of time focused on one activity. And I want to implement the Pomodoro time method, which I can talk about in a future video if you don't know what that is, but having intervals of deep work break, or just straight 2 hours of deep work going into a break. Having those periods of deep work is going to help me with this new certification that I'm doing, because I am trying to transition into data analytics when I leave the military. So I have a couple of certifications that I need to do transitioning into tech. I do some of it now, so it's not as hard for me because I am data adjacent, but I still have to focus. And I can't compromise those deep work periods because I'm tired, or because I just don't feel like it. Feelings do matter. That's a bad statement to say. Feelings do matter, but we can't let our feelings cloud who we are becoming. We got to get to a discipline over all of that. I sort of do a Sunday reset, but it's not really as strategic as I would like it to be. So having a weekly reset on Sundays, which includes my meal prepping, which I already do, which includes looking over my finances, which include making a content plan for the week, going over that. When am I going to schedule? When am I going to script and record? Things like that. Looking into my Notion and making sure that my personal schedule aligns with my work schedule, because I am still a soldier and I still have things to do, but I can do all of the things. Making sure that my sacred morning and night is not interrupted. And that is another habit that I have written down. If you see me looking down, I have my iPad with bullet points so that I didn't forget what I wanted to talk to you guys about. But that sacred morning and night routine with God. I absolutely love reading and studying in the morning to get my day started, and just journaling and meditating on what He is telling me. That really helps me. And that is something that I want to stay consistent with no matter what. My nighttime, I have an app called Refocus, which blocks apps in my phone after 9 o'clock for me. So there is no social media or different shopping, Amazon to be specific, open for me to go and click because I'm bored and or I'm just scrolling on social media until I go to sleep. No, my nighttime is strictly for reading, praying, doing my facial routine, doing my nighttime routine, and just being quiet. I have teenagers, so teenagers are kind of in their own little world, but making sure that I pay attention to them, or I talk to them and I talk to them about their day, which we have a great relationship, so we do those things, but being intentional at the end of the night about truly winding down. And I could do a nighttime routine or a morning routine video in the future, because it's really a sacred time for me. And I think that once you are able to have those consistent night and morning routines, it is not just a cliche that people are doing on TikTok. There is really psychology behind those things, getting your day started intentionally and winding down intentionally. And we could talk about that in the future. And that's what this series is about, becoming her, all of the things. And I wanted to start with habits because habits really shape our success. What you do on a consistent basis is who you are. That is what you're going to become. That is what you're going to accomplish. So identifying those habits that are foundational, the ones you need to let go and the ones that you need to bring in, is going to be key for your journey. I know it's key for my journey, and I'm going to bring you on that journey of becoming her with me. You'll get to see behind the scenes of me balancing, transitioning out of the military over the next 3 years, balancing my faith and my family and building a business and building a personal brand. You'll get to see the behind the scenes of that in this Becoming Her series. And I want you to know that becoming her isn't about waiting until everything feels perfect. It's about being honest with yourself about what's holding you back and being bold enough to create a new life and be the woman that God has called you to be. You have to have the audacity to be who God has called you to be, no matter what. The version of you that you're dreaming about, the dream woman, is already in you. You already have the skills. She's just waiting for you to rise up and be her. All right? Love you. See you.